We eventually catch up with Sayori and Natsuki. We wordless walk up to them. However, Yuri ends up walking straight past the three of us and directly into school. From the slight glimpse I got of her, though, I noticed her face was still crimson. Natsuki opts to chase after her.
Oh, what's up with Yuri?
I was talking about how I've been, and she just started holding my hand. As soon as she realized what she was doing, she just... I don't know. I guess she kind of freaked out. Sayori flashes me a worried glare.
You still want me to walk with you?
I nod and we continue on our way. As Sayori accompanies me to class, I can feel the eyes of all the other students etch themselves into my skin. They're staring with cold, shocked expressions, almost like they've seen a ghost. I bite the inside of my lip in a vain attempt to silence my conscience. There are whispers, too. Whether they're about me or not, I don't know. But they're whispers nonetheless. Eventually, though, we make it to my first class of the week. Before Sayori goes off to her own class, I ask her one last thing. When's the memorial? My voice is dry, hushed and monotone.
I'm not too sure, but I'm guessing it'll probably be during first break.
I nod, my eyes drift towards the door.
I guess I'll see you there then.
A silent nod is my only response to Sayori's downcast tone. After some slight hesitation, she slinks away into the crowd as she goes off to her own class. As for me, I just idly stand around, just waiting for the bell to ring. It eventually does. I sigh. Let's get this over with, I suppose. Second class ended a little earlier than usual, mostly to make sure all of us got to Monika's memorial. I deliberately made the choice to be the last one out. Before I left, though, my teacher asked me if I was doing okay. I knew that the rest of the school knew about me and Monika, but I didn't realize that applied to the staff, too. Of course, I told him I was fine. I'm fine. That phrase has lost all meaning to me. It's nothing but a deflector at this point. I end up trailing behind the rest of my class until we reach the main hall. The hall is packed. From the many faces I can see in the crowd, I can spot Sayori, Natsuki, and Ryuji. I'm presuming Kotonoha and Kaha will make their appearance soon. As I'm looking around, I spot an empty spot next to Yuri. Rather sheepishly, I approach her. She glances at me, but looks away just as quickly. As I sit down, Yuri's eyes lock with mine. I see a seemingly apologetic smile on her face. My eyes just fixate towards the front of the room. There, on a large screen at the front of the room, is a photo of Monika. I can feel my chest getting a little tighter just looking at her. Seeming to sense this shift, Yuri gently rests a hand on one of my wrists, my wrists. I slightly wince in response, causing Yuri to look away with a more concerned expression. What is it? She goes to say something, but stops herself. Presumably she was going to ask about my arms. Eventually, though, she speaks up.
Are you still mad at me? You know, about this morning.
What? Yuri, I wasn't mad at you. I think over what happened this morning. Is that really how I came off? I wasn't mad, I was just surprised.
Regardless, I'm sorry about this morning.
I nod wordlessly before speaking again. Once more, my voice is monotone. You don't have to apologize. My eyes don't leave Monika's picture. From the corner of my eye, I see Yuri look towards the picture and then back to me. She then places a hand on my knee. She speaks softly.
We'll get through this together, Hallie.
We lock eyes for a moment. Before I can say anything else, though, someone at the front of the hall clears their throat over the microphone. The pair of us look forward. Looks like the memorial is starting. Several minutes drag on, each one feeling more and more like an eternity. Staff members of the school council and other assorted students come up to talk about Monika. Yep. Whether it was about how she was in class, or how they met, or some other memory associated with her, the stories keep coming. I know their intentions are good, but the whole thing is just another painful reminder that she's gone. I keep rushing through a myriad of emotions and thoughts throughout the whole ceremony. Grief, anger, guilt. There's too many to list. One thing that is a constant, though, is the undying feeling that I'm going to be sick. By some miracle, I'm able to hold back my tears. Tears I so desperately want to release. I do have to wonder, though, in another life, if I'd been with her either Yuri, Sayori, or Natsuki, and they suffered the same fate, would the school care this much? Did they even care about Monika? Like, did they genuinely care? Or is this whole send-off just another display of false sympathy? Like I need to hear any more of that. They didn't know her like I did. My breathing quickens, catching the attention of some of the students near me, especially Yuri. I try to fill my head with happy thoughts to keep myself sane. But that's the issue. For every happy memory I have with her, it all keeps leading up to that day. Thankfully, it all soon comes to an end, and I get up to leave. On the way out the hall, each student is handed a pamphlet about mental health. Well, one mostly about depression with a bunch of suicide prevention hotlines at the end of it. I appreciate the sentiment, but what Monika was going through went beyond that. Whilst everyone else heads back to whatever classes they had, I decide to skip class entirely. Soon enough, I find myself at the stairwell that leads up to the roof. Before I can walk up, though, I hear a voice call my name.
Hallie!
I turn around to see Natsuki running up towards me. She wears a look of worry. Let me guess, he already told you I seemed off and you wanted to check up on me. Natsuki is taken aback by my blunt delivery.
Well, yeah.
I figured as much. I sit down on one of the stairs and look down at the floor. Natsuki sits down next to me. Still, I remain silent. She nudges me.
Please say something.
I look up to meet Natsuki's gaze. My eyes glassy, I shake my head. What's there to say, Nat? I get up, still keeping my eyes on Natsuki. I gaze up the stairs. It's only a quick dash up to the roof. No, not now. Too public, too messy. In my daze, I don't even realize that Natsuki had grabbed a hold of my blazer.
Please don't.
Her voice cracks. Either a coincidence or she somehow knows what I was thinking. I turn to face her, only for her to close her eyes tightly. With Natsuki? I wasn't gonna. I go quiet. Even now, I'm lying through my teeth. You're not gonna lose me, Natsuki.
I hope not.
Natsuki looks back at me, tears streaking down her face.
I've already lost one friend, Hallie. I don't think I can handle losing another.
She stifles a sob as she takes a step away. Even now, in this state, I can't even truthfully tell her that I'll be okay. Despite how I try to come off, I'm fully aware that I'm not okay. And the voice in my head only makes that worse. I barely make eye contact with Natsuki as I speak up again. You want me to walk you to class? She nods sadly. We then start slowly walking together. The rest of the school day drags. Even classes that would be quite lively felt more somber. My mind keeps replaying the events of the past few days and weeks. From the outside looking in, it might not seem like a lot of time has passed. But for me, it feels like a lifetime has dragged itself by. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like weeks. And weeks feel like years. All because of just one day. The day my life was flipped upside down. And all of this needless prodding from the other students and staff isn't helping. False sympathy. That's all it is. For the second time today, I'm overcome with a sense of sickness, with a deep pit in my stomach. My breathing goes deeper. My body is trembling. I start tapping my middle and index finger against my desk. I'm getting restless. I get my bag from under my desk and stand up. As I do, the rest of the class focus their attention on me. Hallie, are you okay? I look towards the teacher, my body still shaking. Yeah, I'm just not feeling too well. I then head out to class and straight for the bathroom. Upon entering the bathroom, I immediately dart into one of the stalls and violently puke into the toilet. It reaches a point that I start to feel a cramp in my stomach. God, you really are pathetic, aren't you? Shut it. I grumble to myself as if the voice in my head is just another person. Thank God I'm alone in here. Don't need anyone else thinking I'm crazier than they probably think I am. After a while, I manage to pick myself up. But I don't move from the stall. I just stand there, wondering what to do next. I then shut the stall door and lock it. With shaking hands, I take off my blazer. I then unbutton my left sleeve cuff and roll the sleeve up, revealing the bandages. I brush my fingers up and the wrap until they reach the end of where I had cut it off. I breathe through a partly opened mouth. Do it. I carefully grab the edge of the wrap, only to let go soon after. No, I can't. Do it. No one's here to stop you. As my mind eggs me on, I start to unwrap my arm. My eyes are soon reunited with the aftermath of my many restless nights. A sea of slashes, some fresh, many in various states of scabbing. It pains me to look at it. Christ, what would Monika think of this? I don't know what compels me to do so, but I run my thumb against some of the scabs. I then dig my fingernails into one of them. I wince, now breathing through my teeth. Quit stalling. Fucking do it. The bell then suddenly rings. In my surprise, I end up yanking one of my more recent scabs clean off. Gah! I bang the back of my head against the stall wall in blind frustration. As a slight bit of blood starts to trickle down the reopened wound, I yank my sleeve down and pull my blazer back on. I then grab my bag, unlock the door, and start the journey down to the literature club. The walk to the club was a silent one. It ended up being more of what it was like this morning. Just the endless sea of eyes all watching me. Is this how it's going to be from now on? Because that's the impression I'm left with after today. And already I'm bloody sick to death of it. I open the door to an empty clubroom. The only other presence that greets me is the sparse sunlight peeking from the clouds and the muted pitter-patter of the rain outside, and that's the wrong spelling of peeking again. I slump towards the desk closest to the closet and sit down. I stare blankly out of the window, silently watching the rain trickle down against the window pane. I shouldn't have come back. The only response I get is the deafening silence. If only my mind was just as quiet. I know what it's beckoning me to do. I can't give in. Not again. Even though you eventually will. Leave me alone. I plead with my mind to stop. My head then snaps towards the door as it opens. It's only Yuri. She seems deep in thought. When she opens her eyes, she averts her gaze just as quickly. I return to gazing out the window. The rains seemed to have calmed down for the moment, but the clouds remain. My attention is then brought back into the clubroom by sounds of Yuri's approaching footsteps.
How are you, Hallie?
I shrug. Isn't the answer to that obvious enough? I'm fine, Yuri, I really am.
You don't sound so confident about your answer.
She averts her gaze once more as I sigh through a parted mouth, looking out the window once more.
I saw how you were during the memorial.
I know, Yuri. You couldn't keep your eyes off me.
I'm trying to look out for you, Hallie.
I go to say something but stop myself, least I end up snapping at her would be less. Why am I getting like this? She's done nothing wrong.
Remember what I told you this morning? We'll get through this. I know it's going to be difficult, but I promise you that we'll get through it.
After she's finished, she smiles bashfully. It's a nice sentiment, but I open my mouth again. Does that we include Natsuki and Sayori? Or does it just include us two, Yuri? She falls silent as my voice shows signs of cracking. I didn't mean to shout. I didn't realize I was shouting.
You've got the wrong idea, Hallie. Of course it includes the others.
I look away from her, sighing quietly.
I'll admit I was a bit hesitant to talk to you after that happened. But that was mostly because I was worried that I was partly responsible.
You weren't to blame, Yuri. I sigh. I'd say it was her father, but I should have done more to get her out of there when I realized what was going on.
You can't blame yourself, Hallie. You didn't know that she was going to do what she did.
But I knew how her father was treating her. I could have called the police. I could have tried to have her stay at mine until we got our own police. I could have done anything, but I let her stay with him. And now, I can't even get her out of my fucking head. As I shout, my voice finally cracks. Do you even know what it's like to lose someone like that? Someone who you loved? Someone who you knew was struggling? But since things weren't going just fine as far as you two were concerned, you didn't bother trying to help them? That's what it feels like, Yuri. You don't have to live knowing your selfishness killed the one you loved. But I do, because I didn't do anything but stand there trying to make us look like the perfect couple. Trying to pretend that she wasn't constantly being abused and I was losing sleep because I was scared. In a way, it feels like I killed her, all because I was too stupid and lazy to do anything. My chest is frantically rising up and down and my hands are shaking. Yuri looks at me in complete shock. I can't even look her in the eye. How could I after all that? Instead, I just stare towards the front of the room. I'm sorry for yelling. I'm exhausted, Yuri. It's all just so bloody exhausting. Barely holding back tears, I turn my head to face Yuri. To my surprise, she then approaches me and crouches to my eye level.
That's why I'm worried about you. I truly want to help you, Hallie.
I shake my head, my eyes not leaving hers despite my tears starting to fall. There's no point. Even if you tried, it wouldn't change a thing. I've already hurt everyone enough. I don't want you to waste your time and energy on me. Yuri sighs.
Can I ask you something?
I shrug once again. I guess. She gently grabs hold of my hand again. Instead of pulling away, I look back at her gentle violet eyes.
I know this might seem a tad direct, but how did it start?
How did what start?
The cutting, Hallie. How did it all begin?
My body freezes up. I'm not cutting. I shake my head in denial. Yuri squeezes my hand gently, silently calling my bluff.
If it helps to make you feel more comfortable, I still have some scars of my own.
My expression shifts into one of disbelief. You do? She nods at my unintended admission.
It was before you were part of the club. I used to be absolutely awful for it, even to the point where it had become my go-to coping mechanism. But I was eventually able to confide in Monika about it, and she was able to help me control those urges.
I return to looking out the window and nod to myself. After a moment, I tilt my head and my eyes flicker back towards Yuri. Who told you? I mumble under my breath.
Pardon?
About my arms, Yuri. Who told you? My tone gets snappy. As Yuri stalls, the door opens. Sayori and Natsuki walk in. Sayori's face dropped as soon as she saw me staring back at her. I glance back at Yuri and she nods. I raise from my chair, causing her to look away. Sayori. My voice trembles, sounding more like gravel and verging on becoming a frustrated growl. You told... This seeming growl softens to a whimper. There's silence for a moment. Silence apart from the pitter-patter of the rain outside. But what am I saying? Did you? In the heat of the moment, I raise my voice with a very pained crack. What follows is more silence.
She did, yeah. She told me to. We're all worried about you, Hallie. You need help.
Natsuki whimpers as she speaks. I find myself glaring at Sayori in complete disbelief. There's a few thoughts swirling around in my head, but each and every one of them are fragmented and scattered. I take a step back and shake my head. Eventually, one thought sticks out from the whirlpool. I look between the three of them, each of them in various states of upset and distress. But I can't stay. I sigh and look down. Fuck this. I'm done. Without another sound out of anybody, I fetch my bag, sling it over my shoulder, and head straight out the door. I get about halfway down the hall before I hear the clubroom door swing open and footsteps bolting down the hall.
Hallie, wait up!
I keep walking. Sayori then calls out to me again. I ignore her once more, still walking. I then feel her grab my shoulder. In response, I spin around. The suddenness of my movements startle her.
Hallie, let me explain.
Explain what, Sayori? That I trusted you with something personal, only for you to tell everyone else? I didn't want them to know. Hell, I didn't want you to know.
Hallie, I told Nat and Yuri because I'm scared. They're scared. Christ, we're all worried about you.
I scoff. Yeah, so worried you'll go behind my back and...
What was I supposed to do then, Hallie? Like you keep doing it like there's nothing wrong with it? Because it's starting to feel like you've grown numb to it.
I remain silent, neither confirming or denying that last part.
Please, Hallie, we're only trying to help you.
I know. Don't you think I realize that? I know I need help. But for you to go behind my back and tell them something that you swore was a secret...
Yes, Hallie, I'll admit that I should have done better. But with how erratic you've been, they would have found out eventually.
I huff in a manner I know fully well comes off as uncharacteristically arrogant of me. Yeah, like that helps.
For fuck's sake, Hallie, just listen to me. We can't help you if you keep shutting us out all the time.
I jolt back a bit in surprise as she yells. Sure, she has sworn before, but never with this much intensity. Her tone then suddenly shifts to a softer tone.
Hallie, you're like a brother to me. Seeing you like this, well, it breaks my heart. You're reminding me of how I was.
With that last sentence, Sayori's voice becomes a trailing whisper. There's then a silence between us for what feels like forever.
Please, say something.
I shake my head and start to walk back from her.
Hallie, where are you going?
I turn on my heel and start walking faster. It doesn't take long for Sayori to catch up with me. She pulls me by my sleeve.
Hallie, please don't go.
Let me go! Sayori lets go and slinks back as my voice breaks, with it almost sounding like a whimper. After a moment of just standing there in stunned silence, I just continue walking until I'm out of the building. I don't plan on coming back. Once I'm in my room, I sling my bag down against the cabinet. I then slump onto my bed, face first into my pillow. I scream into it as hard as I can, the pillow acting as semi-decent seal around my mouth. Eventually, though, my screams devolve into sobs. That's right. Lay there and mope. That's all you're really good for now, isn't it? As the voice inside my head continues to batter me, I internally damn myself for how acted back at the club. Sure, I was upset at Sayori, but didn't need to raise my voice. I'm such an idiot. I start to smack my head against my pillow. Such a stupid fucking idiot. I should have listened to Sayori yesterday. It was a bloody mistake going back. God, why do I have to be so fucking stubborn? I breathe out my mouth for a bit before turning around to look up at my ceiling. My breath grows shallow and my vision becomes blurred. I'm getting exhausted. Soon enough, I let that exhaustion overcome me. I don't even care how long I'm out for. I just need rest. Tempus edax rerum. Time. It catches up with all things in the end. It knows not reason nor rhyme, nor does it care for those you try to defend. It's a phantom devouring all in its path. I won't let it catch me. Fall from a high rise, I wouldn't be seen till sunrise. Leap in front of a train. It'd be quick, efficient, void of pain. Slice my throat wide open with a knife. I may writhe in pain. It all runs through my head. Alas, time still looms overhead. I need an out. I'll soon see you. I'll outrun time before it can devour me too.